What is up guys, Andy Forest Runner here, and today we're going to be talking all about the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo after 100 miles. So Monday's run took us up to 112 miles in this shoe. Today we're going to be covering the wear and tear, the performance, how I found the shoe in general, and if I'm going to be using this shoe moving forwards, and of course would I recommend it to you guys. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and without further ado we'll start with the wear and tear. So after 112 miles, I'd hope in any shoe that we wouldn't see any major signs of wear and tear, whether that be on the upper, the midsole, the outsole. The only shoe I've seen major wear and tear after that mileage is the Rincon on the outsole, but that thing chews up massively. That's the only shoe I've seen major wear and tear in after 100 miles. Every other shoe has held up firm, and this thing is no different, I am pleased to report. Just like the New Balance 1080 version 10, bar the fact that it's a little bit dirty because it's been out on some dusty trails and it's been through the wars a little bit, it's holding up firm. The upper on the lateral side, on the medial side, and across the top here is in absolute pristine condition, albeit a little bit of a darker shade of blue, as I said, with the trails. The heel cup area, you can see how dusty this thing, the heel cup area and the heel counter and up and around here is looking just as good. The most minutest bit of fraying appearing here, but other than that, it is looking solid. The midsole is still as good as it was when I bought it, and the only signs of wear and tear that you guys can see on the outsole is on this outer side up towards the end of the toe box area. Bit strange, I'm a midfoot to forefoot striker, so whether I'm landing a little bit more on the outside and rolling through in this shoe, I don't know. It's exactly the same on both shoes, which is bizarre. Never had wear and tear there, but other than that, as you can see, the outsole is looking really, really solid. Okay, so let's talk about the all-important section, performance. How has this shoe performed for me in training? Well, just in case you're relatively new to the channel, I buy shoes with a purpose. In the very beginning of the year, I set out with one goal. That was to get 2 easy day shoes and 2 speedier day shoes. Now the summer's started, I'm looking for exactly the same again to get into my rotation. And this is the first speedier shoe that I decided to invest in. I have a lot of daily trainings that I'm ploughing in the miles at the moment, and I wanted something a bit lighter, a bit snappier for those workout days. And I'm pleased to report that this thing has indeed done very, very well. I will say one thing, in a world now where 30mm in the heel stack height seems to be becoming a standard, this thing was a little bit, well, it took a little bit of time to get used to. 24 stack height in the heel, 18 in the forefoot. My word, didn't I feel the road for the very first time, or for a first time in a long time. So first couple of runs were a little bit weird, I'm not gonna lie, but we got used to it very, very quickly. And since then, I've enjoyed putting in 1 kilometer repeats, tempo runs, done a long run in this thing, some easy runs. I've done everything in this shoe. Where has it shone for me in particular? It shone on the speedier days. It really wasn't geared up for the long run. I do like to find something a little bit more cushioned for the long run, just because we're out on our feet for a heck of a lot longer. I'm feeling the road in this thing. It's almost like taking one of those old racing flats out for a marathon on the concrete. Your legs feel it afterwards. My feet weren't too bad after my long run in this, but on the whole, they weren't great. So I retired it from the long run side of things. Easy runs, it's done really well in. I've done a fair few easy runs in it. Although it's a speedier day shoe, there's enough cushioning in here to use it more as a daily trainer if you want to, a lighter daily trainer option, kind of like a lighter version of the 1080 version 10. But the speed days is where it's kind of excelled. Those kilometer repeats, those tempo runs in this shoe have been very, very enjoyable, albeit a little bit strange and a little bit harder to get going when you're used to running in, or I've been testing recently, some of the more racing style shoes with the carbon plates that are super light. Then going and putting this thing on, you realize actually just how heavy these trainers are, despite it being light, if that makes sense. So overall, I've been really, really happy with the performance of this shoe. So I guess that begs the question, will I be using this shoe moving forwards, and who would I recommend this shoe for? Will I be using it moving forwards? Yes, I will probably get a few more miles in there, but I've got to be honest with you, there's a couple of other speedier shoes out there that I have my eye on at the moment that I'm going to be testing very, very soon. Depending on how they fare depends on whether I take this thing up the mileage or whether I decide to retire this one where it is and ramp up the mileage in another shoe. Just as an example, I've got a lot of daily trainers, but the Nova Blast is getting the nod over all of them, and we're up and above 220 miles now in that shoe and continually rising. When I find a shoe that I like, I really go for it. And as much as I've really enjoyed this shoe and it's excelled in performance everywhere, I'm not 100% sold on the fact that I will be using it moving forwards for the long term. I might get it up to 150 miles, but that might be it. Shoes like the Rincon 2, the Hyperion Tempo, they're shoes I've got my eye on that I have a feeling I'm going to get on with a little bit more. Obviously time will tell and we will have to see. But who would I recommend this shoe for? That's the most important thing. For people that like the 1080 version 10, you'll find a very similar fit in this shoe. The main difference between the two is it's not a gusseted tongue and the mesh on the top is not moulding to your foot. It's not that elasticy mesh upper. It's more of a traditional standard Propel mesh upper, but it's still a very similar fit. And if you like a shoe that's a little bit lower to the ground, a little bit more old school, a bit like the Pegasus Turbo 2, not that I would compare the two shoes because the Peg Turbo 2 is a lot lighter and a lot softer. It's a little bit more along those lines, lower stack height, a bit more old school. If you like that sort of thing, then this is going to be a good shoe for you. So there we go, that's it guys. Those are my thoughts on the New Balance FRESHFOAM Tempo, a successful shoe, which is great because the last speedier shoe we took up to, wow, we didn't even make it to 100 miles. The Saucony Kinvara 11 got shot of after 29 miles. So really happy that I found a shoe that has worked well for me. Let me know in the comments below which Speedier Day shoes are working for you, and any recommendations, I'm more than open to hear them in the comments below. I'll be perfectly honest with you and say I have my eyes on the Rincon 2 and the Hyperion Tempo. I think they look fantastic shoes. If there are any others out there in the speedier, lighter category, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and of course only if I can get them in a UK size 13. Things like the Reebok Float Ride, stuff like that. You guys keep recommending them to me, the Adidas Boston 8, 9, whatever. Those brands don't do my size of shoe, which is so annoying because of course I'd love to try them out. But any other recommendations, I'm all ears and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So that's it for today guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always I will see you on the next one. Until then.